Good evening. Welcome to a special edition of Last Bell Boxing. Joined by Riley's Gym faithful, Perry Howe. Good evening, mate. How are you?
Evening, Paul. How we doing?
Yeah, very good, mate. And as always, my partner in crime on the show, Daz Medcoff. How are you, pal?
Right, mate.
Go on, Dad. Team Riley's. Team Riley's,
baby.
So, Perry, you was out at the weekend. We obviously we come down the gym. We did an interview with you, talking about how you were looking forward to your fight last weekend, and things didn't go according to plan.
Well,
you ended up being disqualified.
No, I'm a naughty boy.
So Perry, talk me through your perception of what happened Saturday night, mate.
Right. I'll start from the beginning, shall I? Shall we go back to before this fight even got announced and where we were? Because
of course, mate. Yeah.
I think it's all part of the story. I think it's all quite funny, to be fair. I wanted away fights. I went away on holiday, so I messaged all promoters, day my holiday, and I says, right, I want some away fights. Let's make it happen. So Kev Murray gets back to us. Rob gets in touch, says, we've got your fight, Billy Deniz. We couldn't agree terms on weight and stuff. So he says, forget it. It's done. So I'm sat in airport lounge having a couple JDs, as you do. I'm on holiday, and I'm sat there and I'm thinking, oh, well, I'll enjoy my holiday. It is what it is. So I'm sat in airport lounge like that. Goes on my first day of holiday. I'm like that. I wake up next morning and my partner turns around and she says, by the way, you've got a fight when you get back. I says, you what? She says, check your phone. So I checked my text messages. There it were, confirmed, Billy Deniz. I went, oh, sound. And then from that moment on, I had a week in Rhodes and then a soul-destroying stag do in Benidorm. And I couldn't start any training until that wall out of the way. Tactics had already started on the stag do because Rob Riley was out there with me. So we were having a team talk about it in the sun with a few beers. And by the time we come back off the holiday, I had 28 days training. Just starting a full-time job back on lorries, 50 plus hours a week. I'm in gym to do what I can. Now, we knew my game plan from day one. My game plan was to rough him up, old man him, and make him look daft, basically. And we believed we could do it and we could nick the win on the... obviously, he's the own fighter. We knew we had it stacked against us. Everybody I spoke to in and around boxing, people that have seen him sparring, people who have sparred with him, I'll not name names, but they did say he does not like it when you put it on him. He doesn't like it in close, and he likes it all his own way. And I took that as, hey, that's what we'll go for then. So everything I've done in the gym for the past 28 days has been solely to make him look bad.
Yep.
And I think we did a good job of that, to be fair.
Well, I've watched the fight back, mate. And I think you did everything pretty much within the rules. You was inside. You were fighting until you were told to break.
Yep.
The times when I mean, you had an A-star referee, Mark Lyson, refereeing the fight. The times when Mark Lyson told you to break, you broke.
Yep.
I didn't see too much wrong, I'll be honest. So, how'd you get from the first couple of rounds fighting on the inside to the disqualification?
Well, this is it. It's not like Hope changed. For me, I think I've got a new name for Billy. Obviously, it's Billy, please don't hit me, Deniz. So I think he's one of these prospects that obviously his record, 8-0 before I got in with him. I've been respecting that. I'm looking at his 5 knockouts. I didn't really watch any footage of him fighting because I didn't need to. I listened to my team. I listened to everybody what I needed to do. It weren't concerned me because I knew I was turning up to have a go. So Kev Murray took this fight, told me he knew I would come in to have a go. There were no illusion what I was doing. Like I said, I'd turn around to babysit him. I said, he's going to be in for a fight. Let's have a fight. Let's test him. And I be honest, I think not so much his team, but Billy himself underestimated what I was going to bring to the table. And I do think he wanted it all his own way, and he didn't want my old man roughing him up. And I think he got a bit too much of him. I think he cracked under pressure. I'd been seeing, obviously, I keep my eyes on him over the past month on his socials, saying he's in the fittest shape of his life. He's this, he's that. And obviously, I'm respecting that. I'll take it, but I took it with a pinch of salt as well. I've been around the block. I looked at how fit he looked. He looked in really good condition. I thought, well, he don't look like he's got much fat on him. I thought he might burn out 4 or 5 rounds in. Obviously, I never got to find out. Yeah. But from the 4th roundish, I was getting inside his head. And all that is his experience and age. And I'm not going to throw Billy under the bus. At the end of the day, I watched it back myself. He caught me with some beautiful shots. Caught me. He was catching me with some good 1-2s. My head were pinging. But there were never a point in that fight where I felt worried. There were never, if anything, I was enjoying it. I've not actually been that comfortable in a ring in a long time. Like, obviously, I've had hard opponents. Ricky Reeves last time out. That were a bit of a slugfest, but obviously me and Ricky knew the score. Dex Spellman, hard night's work with him. I've spoke to all my previous opponents minus the Latvian. Obviously, I stay in touch with everyone. Everybody's been asking me how I got on, and I'm going to be completely honest. I found it probably the easiest fight I've had as a professional. And it's a weird one to say that, because like you say, you look at the records, you've got an 8-0 undefeated prospect. If you look at the Cameroonian I boxed, I think when I boxed him, we were 7 losses. Now that kid coming on the scales, 2 stone heavier, I'd sold a ton load of tickets. I'm screaming at Rob going, he's 2 stone overweight. They wanted to pull the fight, this and that. That fight's ended up being a dog war at Pons Forge. I think Andy Brook were reffing that. And there were more holding in that. There were more grappling in that. He made it a really hard night's work for me, the Cameroonian. And it's like I said, I've not had any favours or out gifted to me. Like I've had to work for this. And I feel like Dennis has had his 8-0, bit easy. And the first time he's actually been in a 50-50 fight, he's come unstuck. Now, I'm a fat lorry driver from Sheffield. You know what I mean? I'm an old man. I've been around the block a bit, but I know boxing. I know it's not pretty boxing. I know it doesn't impress the crowds, but my job weren't there to impress the crowd. I took 15 down with me just to say, come on, let's have a go. So obviously I took a couple of my sponsors, a couple of the Promise Army, and we were just going to have some fun. And I had a lot of fun. As soon as bell went first round, I were in a bit disbelief on what he didn't bring to the table. I actually put him up here. And as the fight went on, I was like, whoa, where is he? He's not turned up, you know? So it was interesting for me. And obviously, like I said, I'm not going to throw Mark Lyson under the bus either. I'm going to be very politically correct about this. But Mark Lyson's got a job to do. I've got a job to do. I believed I was doing my job within the boundaries. He believes I wasn't. It's a matter of opinion. I'm not going to be the first boxer to not agree with a referee's decision.
No.
But obviously I respect his decision, and as the referee, he's got a job to do, and he's done it accordingly to how he sees fit. The only bit that doesn't sit with me is I'm very thick-skinned with it all. I don't mind the banter. I've seen a few of Billy's fans saying, where you were getting beat anyway. I'm like, well, that don't matter. I'd rather have seen fight art. I won't get beat anyway. I was getting in his head. I know that. Billy knows that. Everybody knows that. And I've had to come home and explain to my kids how I've got on. Now, I don't mind telling them I've lost gracefully. I don't mind telling them I've been in with Dex Spellman and he's brought me ribs and he's done this, because I've lost to the better man. I've lost to Ricky Reeves on the night. I've lost to the better man. To be disqualified and not agree with it and have to tell around to tell your children. And I've had my 7-year-old stepson turn around to me and say, does that mean you cheated? And I'm having to look him in the eyes and say, technically to the ref, yes, I've cheated. And you know, my 7-year-old lad is that clued up. He turned around to me and said, Billy must have paid him some money. And I just started laughing my head off. I said, no, that doesn't happen. It doesn't work like that, Frankie. I've been very respectful. I want to keep the credibility to the sport. You know what I mean? Yeah. And I was just laughing my head off. Like, for a 7-year-old lad to say that, and I was like, well, what do you argue with that? You know? But tongue in cheek, like I say, he had a job to do. I respect him as a ref, and he's got to do what he's got to do, hasn't
he? He has indeed. Daz, do you want to jump in?
What do you want my opinion?
Go on, Daz.
Yeah, give me your opinion of how you think.
Right, obviously, I'm part of Perry's team. I've watched it, and my point of it is, I can understand why Mark's disqualified Perry, but I don't agree with it at all. I think it was very, very, very harsh.
So the way I've watched it back as well, Daz. The way I saw it is, it takes him 3.5 rounds to take the point off.
Right.
So
I'll tell you my point of it. Why I come to that thing. I can see on how it went. I can see why he disqualified Perry, but like I said, don't agree with it. I think it was very, very, very harsh.
Yeah.
The point is, I think it boils down to the fact that he lost control of the fight, and he sort of. He didn't seem. I mean, listen, Perry got thrown to the floor,
and I got up and smiled about it and laughed.
Yeah, Perry got thrown to the floor, and all Mark did was wave a finger at Billy. Right now, Perry does a bit of old manning and gets a point off. I believe that was what point before, weren't it, Pez?
I'm not even sure. I've watched it myself. I think I couldn't work out if it was a shot, but I'd give him the little uppercut.
When you did that, from what I've seen on the video, when you gave him the little uppercut, it was like the first or second infringement, but there weren't no warning. So I thought it was because of the holding, but Perry were holding but working.
Yeah.
And Billy had a free hand. Billy chose
mine's not a biased opinion, by the way, because
no, mine's not, mate. Listen,
this is a neutral. I'm seeing this as a neutral.
Yeah, listen, I'm part of Perry's team, right? Yeah. And so I'm trying to look at it, and how I've looked at it is, I can see why he did it, why he disqualified him, but I don't agree with it, because I think that when Billy threw Perry to the floor, it was like, I mean, that was a little bit more dangerous than what if Perry had gone down and broke his ankle or pulled his shoulder out. I mean, when you're literally grabbing someone and slinging him,
it
showed Billy's frustration. That's why Perry's 100%. I would get into him.
I looked at Rob. I actually shouted. You can probably see it on the video. I smiled when he threw me on the floor. I looked at Rob. I says, "It's working, Rob. It's working." And Rob went, "Carry on, because we knew we were getting in."
We had that discussion as well, haven't we? Me and you. Obviously, that's what you were going to do.
Yeah,
you weren't going to let him have it all his own way.
I wouldn't mind. I told everybody what I was going to do. I told Kev, Marie what I was going to do, and everyone were happy with it. They wanted me to do that. They wanted me to test him, and I believe I went out there and get a good account of what you can do. Yeah. And like you say, I'll give Billy his respect. When I let him get his own way and tee off my head, it was hitting me. Now I'm a boxer. I don't like getting hit though. Yeah. So if he's going to do that, I'm going to rough him up. I'm going to use what I've got. And I'll also not agree with the fact that a lot of the time, if you watch the videos, it's him coming down low. Now, when he's coming down low, where else do I go? Because unless I'm willing to stand there and let him come back up full power and tee off my head, I'm going to grab him. I'm going to, it's a defense and an offense. It's tactic.
What I don't understand from referee point of view is that if he's disqualified you for being in a clinch and hitting on side of head, why has he not? He's not warned you.
No, and I'll be honest. I was trying to see everybody's point of view as well. I try and take a step back and take my ego out of it. And I was looking, and when I've got him, I was showboating to the crowd. I had 15 in the crowd. And I'm going to crowd. I've got him. I'm getting in his head. I was sure about him. It's all part of the pantomime. But as I go to hit him, I can see Mark Lyson comes in from behind, and I can't see Mark Lyson. So Billy can, and I can hear Billy saying to him, he's holding me, ref. I weren't holding him. I was punching him inside the head.
Yeah.
So, which is a legal shot.
Billy
So
was choosing not to work.
yeah, and actually, I heard Mark Lyson tell him a few times to say, he's not holding you, Billy. Get your hands up. Get your hands up. And I'm hitting him going, get your hands up, Billy. Get your hands up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's
so,
a baffling one, really, because I think we had conversation after your fight. I think I said I don't understand why he's not sort of, you know, there were infringements on both sides, really.
Yeah.
He's doing stuff, you know, you roll manning him and this, that, other. And if ref weren't happy with it, call time, bring you both in and say, listen, do this, don't do this, do this, don't do this, do this. Right. But there's also the fact where when he disqualified you, it's like, if you weren't happy with what you were doing, I mean, I didn't see any warning up to the point being took off.
No. And the point being took off, I'm trying to work the rules out on that. I'm trying to say is technically I've hit him as he's facing the other way, but he's thrown a shot at me, missed because he's trying to lamp me that hard. He's spun round, and I've still hit him in the face.
This is what we were talking about in gym, and I remember now because I said what should have happened there really was he's turned around with momentum of a shot. You've thrown a shot. He's turned other way because of his momentum from a shot. So your shot's thrown and landed. It's just unfortunate. Now, if he'd have turned his back, and then you'd have thrown a shot at him, right? Basically, then to me, ref then should have called time, said to warn Billy, do not turn your back, because it's basically it's a sign of you don't want to fight.
Yeah, you don't want to know. Defend yourself at all times.
Yeah. So don't. It should have been then basically said to Billy, do not turn your back again, and then he should have turned to you and gone, right. If he turns his back on you, do not punch him from behind. Right, but then you can look in that scenario. If he turns his back and you hit him, who's committed the infringement first? It's him.
Yeah. Well, this is what I mean. It's like you said, I felt like it were stacked against me, but I didn't mind. I was just getting on with it. I was quite happy. And you know what? I'll go back to this with Billy. I've got no personal with Billy. End it there. I don't think I'll be invited him to a wedding for an og roast, though. All other opponents are. You know what I mean? Like, but at the minute, we'll see what happens. But he's one of them, Billy. What it were is on a patronising one. I've seen a lot of myself in him. I remember being 21, 22. I got in with a kid when I went in the army, and I got in quite arrogant, thinking I was going to walk through him. And this 30-odd-year-old bloke, Scottish kid, he's absolutely old man me all over. I couldn't get a shot off. I couldn't get my work off. And I lost my rag. I lost my rag, and I did some naughty things in that fight. And when I look back, I was man enough to turn around and say, well, actually, yeah, he beat me fair and square, and he got in my head. Do you know what I mean? But we'll see. Like I said, I think Billy's got some maturing to do if he's going to progress further now.
I know you're not wanting to be disrespectful to Mark Lyson, but the way this is how I saw it. He gave you a couple of warnings for holding in the first couple of rounds. What he took the point off for wasn't holding.
No.
That was you threw the shot when your opponent had turned his back and wasn't defending himself. Wasn't an illegal shot, but that's what he took the point off for, right? So the very, very next clinch.
So is that so when he threw a shot and he were off balance and you threw the shot, is that what the point off were for?
That was what the point was.
I believe so, yeah, because that's what I seen. There were no clinching going off then.
That isn't the same, Daz. That's not. Correct me if I'm wrong here. Correct me if I'm wrong here, Perry. That's not the same infringement that he was giving you the warnings for in the first couple of rounds.
No, I don't believe it was myself. Like, no.
So you go from being warned once or twice about holding to getting a point taken off for throwing a shot when your opponent's back's turned, even though, in my opinion, it wasn't illegal. So then the very next clinch, when Billy shouts, he's holding me, he calls the fight off straight away.
Did you?
So by the rules, unless I'm wrong, Mark Lyson, you're more than welcome to come and join us on the show at some point and give your side of it. Same with Billy. You're more than welcome to come.
We'll get them all on.
But he didn't take a point off for holding, as far as I can see.
No.
When
I think I watched it back earlier just before we come on, and I think he did give me a warning for holding in one of the earlier rounds.
Yeah, but he didn't. But before he disqualifies you for holding, he's got to take a point off for holding.
Yeah,
and that point wasn't taken off for holding, as far as I could see.
But before he takes a point off for holding, you really. I've seen people.
When you look what the disqualification is, it's not one specific thing, is it? It's just persistent fouls.
Yeah.
So it's a matter of interpretation. So how many? What is the amount of persistent fouls you can commit in a fight? I don't know. I believe I committed none. So but obviously I'm going to say that. You know what I mean? It's one of those. I've not gone in there thinking I'm going to fight dirty. Whatever's happened in that ring, I've done with sincerity, believing I'm within the rules. And I don't know how many's persistent. It's very vague rule, isn't it? So,
Perry, I know that this is a bit, certain parts of this you can't talk about. Are you in a position where you can put in a grievance against the decision?
I believe I am, but I don't think it's really worth my time. Right. It just hold things up. It's one of those. Like you said, how many bad decisions do we see in a thing? I'm not saying it's bad or wrong. I'm just saying, in my opinion, where I'm at with it, from what I'm understanding the situation to be at the minute, I'd rather just crack on with my career. I know what I know, and I can't. It's one of those, isn't it? The boxing gods, aren't they?
What's the plan going forward?
The plan is get straight back out there. I want it to be out on Saturday. I'm joking as well. Kev Marie, if you're watching this, mate, I know you've got another show in Oldham. You fancy? Have you got anyone? I either get Billy on. We'll have a rematch for no, if he's allowed. I don't know what sketches.
To be fair, Fez, mate, I think you've got to do it again with him.
It's got to be done.
Joking aside, would you fight Billy again if that?
I'd fight him tomorrow. I'd fight him twice at weekend. I'd fight him anytime. From what I've seen, I'll be honest, I think he'd probably come back a bit more prepared next time. I wouldn't change a thing. I'm not going to change a thing. My tactics were right. I believe for this fight, my tactics were full on right. And there's no. This is the frustration about running it back, is I wouldn't change anything. I wouldn't change anything. I'd do it again. I'd do the exact same again. So I just thought, obviously, I kept within the rules and got through and roughed him up. But he might be a bit wiser next time now. He might actually show me a bit more respect and actually know I'm coming for a fight. So maybe change something himself. Obviously, I know he's got a good team behind him and that. So they've obviously been training him for this fight. And I just think he's just come in with his head that he was going to walk through me. And it didn't happen. But what I have joked about is we could do it again. Why don't we do it in Sheffield? He can have 15 tickets and he can come to a Promise Army event where I do 300 tickets. And we'll see how it goes then. Because if you look at his record, I don't think he's once fought at the home corner. I'm quite happy to turn up on anyone's doorstep and have a go. Win, draw or lose, my fans know what I'm in this game for. They know I want these credible fights. I do believe the fight with Billy was a credible fight. If you looked at the outside of it from the start, I was expected to get railroaded. I was expected to be through. I know that were a credible fight. When you've been in with your Dex Spellmans and stuff, and you survive in 6 rounds, you kind of that helps you in your head. There's not many people I won't get in that ring with now and know that I can't hold my own. And Billy Deniz at 22 years old, to me, he's a young pup. Like, without being patronising, he's going to mould into what he's going to be, and he's probably going to be a really, really good fighter if he can mature and get round this whole ego of I've got to knock him out, because he's not going to knock everybody out. Old men like me aren't going to stand there and let him knock me out.
Just to touch on something you just spoke about there, a little bit away from this fight. Quite clearly, you're prepared to go anywhere. You're prepared to fight anyone at any point, anyone's back garden. How level a playing field is it when you're going away from home, Perry?
Well, I always joke. I went into this fight saying I'd have to knock Billy out to get a draw anyway. So that like, you kind of know that. But obviously, I've probably had the favours. Like you say, I've been the own fighter. I went in with Nathan Jr. with somebody else in the corner. Won't mention names.
We'll come to that in a bit.
Yeah, we'll come to that. Obviously, I've got a lot of respect for Nathan Jr. I talked to him outside of ring now, and he's a good lad. And he's been a lot of lessons in my career. Like you said, you don't judge a book by its cover. These records are for DJs in this game. I know there's lads out there with records with 100 losses. I'll tell you, I did have a word with the other day, Daz. Elvis Doobie had a talk to me about this.
Bloody hell.
And he says to me, I'm one of the most awkwardest fighters he's ever been in with. Now, for someone like Elvis Doob to say that to me, I felt quite humbled. Yeah. And I respect Elvis. Look, we know records are for DJs. He's got some real experience, that boy.
Definitely.
So when you've got likes of that, and then you get in with your Dex Spellmans and you're finishing the rounds, Ricky Reeves, obviously, he likes knocking people out. He didn't get me out of there. I take my losses as my wins as well. I know what I'm good at, and I know what I'm bad at. I'm not the most stylish boxer. I'm not there to dance around, but I'm going to be in there and I'm going to be having a go. And all the time I'm there, be aware. Do you know what I mean?
Daz, have you got a question for Perry?
It's not a question. It's more of a bit of a statement, really. To be fair, as he's just mentioned on his debut, I was in opposite corner.
Ooh.
In fact, Robert Ryder was in opposite corner as well. To be fair, mate, it's a bit of a shout out to Rob and Gaz, really, because obviously I was in opposite corner to Perry on his debut, and I think it's testament to time Rob and Gary and effort they've put in with him, and Perry's dedication to it as well, that what kind of fighter he is now to what he were then. Because I think he'll admit that he weren't the most, polished back then. And
what do you mean I weren't?
Well, come on.
I'm still learning. I'm still cuffing it.
Yeah, they'll probably tell you now that he's still not the most polished. But I tell you what, it just proves it with Elvis Dube, like, Centurion saying you want the most awkward fighters. But it's his ring craft. His ring craft's, very, very good. Do you know what I mean? And to be fair, his attitude to the game is like it's refreshing. It's like, it is what it is. We just go in there and do it. Fight anyone, fight anywhere, whenever. It's very refreshing. Do you know what I mean?
It's nice, isn't it? It's too, like you said, I'm trying to my fans. I've been learning as I go. So when I come out of my debut, my plan was to get my license and go straight on the road. I had no intention of doing this home fight stuff. I just wanted to do what I'm doing now. So what delayed it was the fact that I have got such good friends and a following. So when I put my debut on, and I got like 250 people sat there cheering me on. And I went, oh wow.
I had them all in my ear.
Yeah. And I had this like moment where I was like, wow, 29 years old, look at what I've achieved just by being there. And it gave me a bit of stage fright. I compared it to like when you watch them on X Factor and they can sing, but they just freeze. And I think for the first 30 seconds with Nathan Jr., I didn't throw a shot.
Yeah.
And I think Nathan Jr. went, I'm having this. And we ended up having a bit of a scrap.
And to be fair to Perry, Nathan Jr.'s a very good fighter.
Yeah, very good.
Nathan Jr. is very good.
Just got into management as well, hasn't he? He's doing well with that. I'll give him a plug out for that as well, because he's been helping us behind the scenes trying to match fights up.
It was a bit of a surreal night, that, because for your fight, I was in opposite corner to my old gym mate Regan. And then next fight I did that night, I was in opposite corner to my old trainer Glyn against a kid who, were in gym with me. A bit of a surreal game, but, like I say, it's a testament to work Gary and Rob have done and work Perry's put in. you know, his ring craft is a totally different fighter to them. You know, and you know, he'll laugh and joke about it and say, "Oh, he's still doing this, still doing that." But listen, that lad knows his way around the ring, and he's tough as all boots. You don't go 6 rounds with Dex Spellman if you're not tough.
No,
you know, because that lad can bang.
And like that, even the loss with Nathan Jr., I learned a lot from that fight. That was like a breath of fresh air as well. Do you know, if I'd have beat Nathan Jr. that night, would I now still be padding a record? Probably so.
Yeah.
And you know what? I feel like a weight's being lifted off my shoulders. My fans are getting genuine 50-50 fights every time I'm going out now.
Yeah.
And I'm loving it. I'd rather lose 10 50-50 fights than be paying some Bulgarian journeyman who's had 200 losses to come over and stand in and let me punch him.
I always say, right, and I've said it long before I joined Riley's, you know, you can get people fight. You can get people fight. You get a prospect, and you've got someone who's, you know, let's say someone who's going to fight for an area title, and they can fight someone who's 11-0 with nine KOs, or they can fight someone who's 7-5 with 1 draw. That's when you look at the guy's record who's 7-5-1. Because if he's gone, you know, his losses are to prospects, you know, good prospects, and his draws against the prospect, and then you've got the other guy who's 10-0 with 7 or 8, 9 KOs. Is for no one who's won a fight, who's got the pedigree.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's the guy who's been in the fights, isn't it? And this is what Perry's going to do. You know, listen, I'm as honest as it comes. You know, there's going to be other fights, and there's probably going to be other losses on his career. But I tell you what, it's gonna come where all this is going to come together. All this experience is going to come together on.
I feel like it already is. Like you said, by the time I got in with Billy Deniz, I honestly, by the time I got in with Billy Deniz, I feel like I'm at the point where I am a professional. I've been in with Deck, I've been in with Ricky, I've had hard fights. I'm getting in with your Billy Deniz as 8-0, and on paper, he's supposed to walk through me.
Yeah. See,
they're not walking through me.
I think it'll come together, Pez, on bigger stage.
Yeah,
that's my point. Yeah, listen, Billy. You know, Billy, he's going to be a good fighter. But I think it's going to come together in another opportunity, maybe at Central area.
Yeah.
Do you mean something like that? Then it'll all come.
That's it. You
know what I mean?
We need them top 10 need a walk round, don't we? Come on, get me in. Give me a chance.
Perry, just to finish, mate, before we bring the interview to an end, just tell us a little bit about how important the family is in your gym, because I know gym's relocated.
Yeah,
and you've obviously had Rob that's been there forever.
Yeah,
Daz that's been there forever, and now Daz has joined the gym and made a nice trio of 3 very well respected trainers that have different outlooks on how to train a fighter and what a fighter
definitely.
Bring. So
definitely. No, I'm quite excited. Yeah, sorry, I'm quite excited about where we are going as a gym. Like I said, we've just moved to Handsworth. The team who we've got are the best. Now, I was quite fortunate, obviously, while the gym was still getting done up. Daz, Gaz, Rob, they've all been training us pros anyway, through getting the gym ready as well and all the work around that, and getting us ready for fights and stuff. So by the time the gym actually had its official open day and everybody else come back, it felt like we'd never not been there to me. Like it's like we've always been there now. And that's testament to the family we've got. It's like Daz. I feel like Daz has been with his ages now. It's like, obviously, he's gone grey. He's only 22. Look at him. So, but jokes aside, obviously, you did Central Area with us, didn't you, and that? And
yeah.
And like you've been there in the background, and now you're there with Nicola, and you're here all the time, and it's good to see you there all the time. We've got good experience in yourself. There's nothing Gary don't know. I'm telling you now. Do you know as trainers go? Gary is one of the best out there, and like I joke, but he finds things like he'll talk to you in between rounds and he'll say, "Do this," and you don't believe it yourself, but it works. Like, and then you go, "Oh wow, why didn't I do that before?" He's got this very good way of getting the best out of you. And then you've got Rob. He's obviously good. He's got loads of experience in what he does. He's very passionate. It's like he's obviously like a dad figure to me. So we have the same. We have a bit of a thing down at our gym where we are a family. So with that comes the arguments. Comes all the. Yeah, I can't wait for some of the stories that come out with me and Rob and Gaz and that. We'll be sat arguing mid rounds in a fight, and it's unreal what's getting said in the corner. Like, and I'm thinking, right, I've got to go out here and punch someone in me. Come on, like, and then we'll go to work and we'll come back, we'll have a laugh, and then we'll say sorry, and then we'll crack on. And it's high pressure all the time, but we all know we've got each other's backs. Do you know what I mean? And now obviously Daz was part of that, so Daz is probably going to be throwing his toys out pram with me a few times, and I'll be telling him, what does he know? Get out there, and it's just what happens, But it's one big family, all the way from us pros to the amateurs coming through, to your keep fitters. There's something for everyone there, and we are one big family. So, like, I've been in the gym twice this week. Obviously, I was just ticking on, expecting to fight Saturday, which has fallen through, unfortunately. But Wednesday, I went in and I did 8 rounds with 2 amateurs. Sharing rounds with body sparring. We all help each other out. There's no egos. No one thinks they're better than anyone. And yeah, we've got a really good network up there. And I know, obviously, as my career starts coming to an end, I'll still probably be keeping my hand in with Riley's. So there's a future ahead in the sport for me when I hang the gloves up myself as well.
Last one from me, mate. You talked a bit about the fact that you're a lorry driver full time. You fit the gym in around that. You get your training in around that. How important is having sponsors on the boxing side of things to take the pressure off?
Absolutely phenomenal sponsors I've got. Nah, I've never lied to them. I've always told them what I'm going to be doing, what the money's for, what's this. But it's like this. I'm getting married this month. I've got a lot of pressure on with that. That's why I'm back full-time work. But obviously, I want to get married. I want to have these things for my family. So I'm going out doing that. For the sponsors, it's like that. I know come September, October, my scans are due again. There's 1,200-1,300 quid to find. And I know my sponsors are loyal to the death, and they're there. They know my intentions. I'm going on the road. They're coming to support me on the road. They know why I'm doing it. They all in on the business side of the sport. They understand the politics of the records and stuff. So it's not like they get why I'm not glory seeking and just going for easy wins. I want these tough fights. And most of my sponsors, whether I've met them through being sponsors or they were friends before, or now friends, family. And I am really lucky with it. And what I would be saying to a lot of companies out there is, if you've got an upcoming talent asking for you to sponsor them, have a think about it. And if you can, please help them out, because it really, really matters. Like you say, I've had to go back to full-time work to fund my life. The boxing side of things, there's still a lot that needs paying out. Still a lot. And like you say, people think because we're professional fighters, we're making pop star wages, and we're really, really not. And obviously, I did quite well with tickets when I'm a known fighter, and I was getting a wage. But when you break it down to an hourly, weekly, monthly rate, it's pence, and the sacrifices involved. And then you'll get your gym fees coming up, your head guards at 80 quid a pop, your this, your that. And if the sponsors weren't there to help me, I won't be able to do what I do. So that I'm very grateful for it. So yeah, massive thank you to my sponsors.
Give them a shout out, Perry. Name them.
Big thank you to them all. You are?
We'll be here till tomorrow.
I was going to say, right, so let's start. We've got Steel Roots, hydrophonic specialist up at Sheepsbridge. Thank you very much for all your help. We got Paul Bass at Bespoke Parts, deals with all your car parts and modifications. I've got Court Crane Iodine in Widnes. He was supposed to come down to Oldham on the weekend, but he couldn't make it. But thank you for the support anyway, Pat, down there. We've got JF Knight, funeral directors. they're hooking me up with a car foot wedding, so that's much appreciated. Nice limo. Hopefully there's no surprises in backlight. Obviously it's a funeral car, you know. But yeah, Tracy and Jamie down there, so thank you very much. We've got Safe House Health and Safety Consultants up in Barnsley. One of my ex-Royal Engineer brothers. So he's got a firm up there for the health and safety. He helps me out a lot. We've got John Tompkins up at the Devonshire Arms. This is going to be the venue for my wedding. All-round nice grub of Middle Hanley, if you want to get yourself up there. I've got Steel City Gutters, name on the tin. Absolute sound lad, Joel there. He does all the gutters, obviously. So if you need any repairs out, he'll get them done. We've got AGE Plumbing. He's another good Sheffield lad. He's ex-RLC, but I won't hold that against him, being a Royal Engineer lad. But he's obviously set up as a plumber and he's doing fantastic work up here and he helps me out a lot. And I'm going to go for... Wait, how many have I named there? It will come. I should have put my T-shirt on, shouldn't I? I'm going to offend someone. So... I've gone down my list. I've got that, Court Crane Hire, that, Safe House, Steel City Gutters. There's one very important one. You don't look this good without getting good trims, do you? So, Mark up at Mankind Barbers, thank you very much. Yep, so I think I've covered there. We've got Adam, we've got Tracy and Jamie, John, Joel, we've got Paul Bass. If I forgot one here, I'm going to get murdered. Come on. Who's not been in touch in a while? Ooh, let's have a look. Bear with me 1 second. What's this? You're going to have to help me on this.
There's only one, Perry.
He's got to grab his T-shirt, hasn't he?
He has, bless him. Listen, do you know what, mate? It just shows a lot about the lad. That he doesn't want to miss a sponsor out because they all mean that much. I really
understand that as well.
They all mean that much.
He's just said there, Perry's just said there how important it is. It's the lifeblood, isn't it? Having these fighters. I mean, Nick's exactly the same.
Oh my God, Mick and Jen of Dynamic Engrave and Print. I'm looking through all my T-shirts to look at the sponsors' logos and forgot the sponsor that does the T-shirts. So. Yes, I'd like to thank Mick and Jen at Dynamic Engrave as well, obviously. And what's been odd is I'm normally in comms with all my sponsors quite a lot. And because I've had a lot on with work and the wedding and getting ready for this fight, I've not really seen them all. So I am going to be going around, catching up with them, have a cup of tea or something else. And
would it be fair to say without these sponsors, you won't be able to fight?
Yeah, facts. I'm in a position now with because I'm going on the road, if I was to get enough fights in, I could probably just about do it. But with the license fees and everything else, it'd end up not worth it. Like you said, the fact that I can advertise for my sponsors, and it isn't just the money side of things, it's the support. Like you said, we went down to Oldham the other night. I got bespoke parts turn up. I got steel roots turn up. And Court Crane I was going to turn up, but obviously couldn't make it and still supported me. So it all means the world to me. And without all these people, and we're like I have a group set up with all my sponsors in. They all talk, so they all help each other as well. So it is one big team, and they become like family as well.
Yeah, it's great. I think that's the perfect point to bring the interview to an end. Perry, it's been fantastic having you on the show, mate. As a channel, we'll be following your journey going forward. We'll get down the gym as much as we can. But once again, thanks for coming on. Daz,
thank you very much.
We'll see you very soon, Perry. Thanks,
mate. See you soon, lads. See you in a bit.
Yes.
See you in a bit.